Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 19th Annual Women for Racial Justice Breakfast. My name is Tara Peterson, and I am the CEO of YWCA Glendale and Pasadena. Since 2002, YWCA's Women for Racial Justice Breakfast has celebrated those at the forefront of the fight for racial justice, bringing the community together to honor their accomplishments and reflect upon the work that lies ahead of us. In 2019, the last time this event was held in person, I sat in the audience deeply moved and inspired by the speakers and honorees. I could feel the deep sense of pride that the Pasadena community has for its remarkable history of advancing social change through resistance and movements. Last spring, when our two organizations, YWCA Glendale and YWCA Pasadena, joined forces, there was no doubt that we would continue the tradition of the signature event, co-creating a legacy of racial justice by lifting up incredible individuals and organizations whose work to address systemic racism and oppression is contributing to the groundswell of change in our institutions, communities, and cultures. Today's honorees exemplify the mission of YWCA of eliminating racism and empowering women, and our commitment to get up and do the work each day until injustice is rooted out, until institutions are transformed, and until the world sees women, girls, and people of color the way we do: equal, powerful, unstoppable. From immigration advocacy, reproductive rights, COVID-19 community response, and policing reform, today's honorees' long-standing and deep work in our community embodies our theme of today's event: truth, healing, and transformation. From speaking truth to power, to helping communities heal, and to providing actionable change, we are honored to share space with and learn from them today. We hope you are able to draw inspiration from their work and words and carry today's gifts into your home, workplace, and we all do our part to bring about transformative and sustainable change to build an equitable and just world. We do this work together, and we do it with reverence and appreciation of those who come before us and the custodians of the land upon which we do this work. Today, we open this event acknowledging Today we open this event acknowledging the Tongva, Keech, and Chumash people as the traditional land caretakers of the Los Angeles Basin and Southern Channel Islands. We acknowledge people's resistance against displacement and erasure. We honor their ancestors and welcome present relatives and relations. And we commit to caring for these lands for the next generations. We invite you to think of a past, present, or future relative or relation you want to honor and invite into our shared space today. And finally, we could not have put this event together without the generous support of our community of sponsors. I'd like to thank our presenting sponsor, Avery Dennison, our gold sponsors, Master Your Card, the California Wellness Foundation, and Kaiser Permanente. Our silver sponsors, Edith Grady and Dignity Health Glendale Memorial. Our community advocate sponsors, All Saints Church Pasadena, Green Splendor Landscaping, Pasadena Village, Envision Consulting, Clark Hill, Senator Anthony Portantino, Huntington Hospital, Congressman Judy Chu, Pasadena Federal Credit Union, PCL Construction, Just First at Kittler, Deborah Kinley, Jahari DeWitt Rogers, Marcos Gonzalez, Phyllis Curry, Margaret Leon Checa, and Upholder Collective, and our friends and family sponsors, El Rio Community School, Rise to Reunite, Planned Parenthood Pasadena and San Gabriel Valley, Assemblymember Chris Holden, Glendale First United Methodist Church, Los Angeles County Supervisor Catherine Barger, Leadership Pasadena, Ana Acevedo, Grace Yuen, Heather Masterton and Rob Reed, Judith Brown, Marie Cantor, Paula Stamp, Roberta Amillo, Steve Madison, Valerie and Bruce Merritt, Veta Ward, Monica Benitez Andrade, and me, Tara Peterson. I would now like to introduce a very special member of the YWCA family today, Emcee Cher Calvin, who is joining us for her 10th year of hosting this event. How amazing is that? You may recognize Cher as an Emmy Award-winning anchor on KTLA 5's Evening News, a social justice advocate and long-standing supporter and friend to the YWCA. Cher joined KTLA in 2005 and anchors KTLA's award-winning nightly newscast. The 10 p.m. News just won the coveted Best Newscast Emmy this year for the second time, making Cher a 7-time Emmy Award winner. Welcome, Cher, and thank you for all that you do to advance racial justice through your platform.
Thank you so much, Tara, and thank you to all of the ladies that make this event possible and all of our supporters as well. It really is so wonderful to be back. And Tara, I do appreciate that beautiful introduction. And, you know, this is such a special event and that is near and dear to my heart. I know that we are going virtual for the second time in a row, but obviously we are doing this to center the wellness and safety of our community. So I welcome you all to the Women for Racial Justice breakfast event that, again, is near and dear to my heart. We are in for a very special program today, recognizing individuals and organizations on the front lines of change who have made significant strides. And despite the immense challenges that remain as we continue to navigate this pandemic and ongoing attacks on both civil rights and women's rights. Today, we lift up the truth tellers, the healers, the agents of change who work from a space of hope and possibility for our community. Today, we will bring in the voices of girls served by the YWCA, who are also part of the groundswell of change in bringing truth, healing, and transformation to their community, campuses, and homes. All funds that are raised today will support the YWCA Girls Circle after-school programming, Tech Girls STEAM education and mentoring and tutoring programs, and Camp Rosie Summer Camp for Girls in Pasadena. We will also be joined by a world-renowned poet and civil rights activist, Nikki Giovanni, who will share her words of wisdom through a very special keynote speech. And we are packed for a jam-packed hour. We are in for an amazing jam-packed hour, that is, of inspirational speeches, incredible program highlights, and moments of connection and kinship. So let's get started. Our first 2001 Racial Justice honoree is Congressmember Karen Bass, representing the 37th District since 2011. She is currently running to make history as the first female mayor of Los Angeles. Congressmember Bass serves on the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Crime and Terrorism, where she is active in working to craft sound criminal justice reform policies. She introduced the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, the most transformative piece of policing legislation to ever pass in a chamber of Congress. This legislation lifted up the demands and policy recommendations that community groups and members of Pasadena have been working on for decades: police accountability, addressing systemic racism, empowering communities, and building trust between the community and law enforcement. For her long-standing work in racial justice and police reform, we are honored to recognize Congressmember Bass with the 2001 Women for Racial Justice Award.
Good morning. Thank you, Cher, and thank you, YWCA Glendale and Pasadena, for this honor. It's wonderful to be in the company with YWCA supporters. Even if I'm not physically there, know I am there in spirit. And to accept this award from an organization with whom I share a life's mission, working to eliminate racism and empower women. I thank the YWCA for this recognition of the work I have done in trying to transform policing. As Congress member of the 37th District in Los Angeles, I had the honor of serving as the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus in 2019 and 2020. The CBC is known as the conscience of the Congress. It was established in 1971. This is our 50th year. And the CBC has fought tirelessly to address police brutality since the very beginning, directed, of course, at African Americans and other people of color. Last year, the world witnessed a horrific crime on the streets of Minneapolis, the slow, torturous murder of George Floyd. His tragic death galvanized the entire nation and many nations around the world to take a deep look at our history, because Black Americans have been sadly marching for well over 100 years to bring attention to this gross injustice, along with many others. African Americans have been marching against police abuse and marching for the police to protect and serve our communities like they do other communities. But the sad truth is, when people told their stories of police abuse, of murder at the hands of police officers, they just simply weren't believed. It has taken technology, cell phones, and active citizen involvement to document and expose this ugly reality in our country. Now the world has witnessed the birth of a new movement that has spread to many nations around the world, with thousands marching to demand not just change, but transformative change that ends police brutality and ends racial profiling. This movement demands that we reimagine public safety so that it is just and equitable for all Americans. The House has now twice passed the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. The goal is to change the culture of policing and to raise the standards of the profession so that trust can be built between community members and law enforcement. Despite running into a roadblock in the Senate, we are now working closely with the Biden administration and the Department of Justice to implement reforms to minimize police brutality in this country. We do still want to pass legislation, but in the meantime, thank goodness we have a supportive administration. While the work continues to move this policy agenda forward at the federal level, it is with great pride to see the changes that are being implemented really around the country on a state and local level. And here in Pasadena, I know that several of my co-honorees had a direct hand in making that happen. So I congratulate them. Juliana Cerrano and Angeline Chen and the NAACP Pasadena branch. Thank you all for your investment and support of this work. Thank you, YWCA, for this honor and for providing a space to lift up leaders and organizations on the front lines of this change. Thank you so much.
Oh, and thank you also to you, Congresswoman Bass, Congressmember Bass. What an honor it is to recognize your work. And we know that your work on the local, state, and federal level has had a tremendous impact in our community's efforts to advance policing reform. And for that, we are so grateful. And we wish you the best with your campaign for mayor. Well, we are here today honoring amazing individuals and organizations, and we are here to learn more about YWCA's Girls Empowerment Programs. It is so wonderful. All of today's donations will support the work being done to empower girls in Pasadena. And I'd like to show you a little bit of the work by welcoming Jada, who will share her experience in YWCA's Tech Girls program.
The STEAM program made me more interested in subjects that I wasn't really interested in before. It made math and programming fun. I was able to use my imagination to create useful robots. I was inspired to make these robots because I have always wanted to explore space. Another reason I was inspired to make these robots was the recent Mars rover launch to Mars. I was fascinated by how humans can send robots to space without even going there themselves. I enjoyed the feedback from the other girls in the program who gave me great suggestions. Seeing a woman that works in robotics and what she does for work on a daily basis made me interested in finding out more about robotics. I now have my own Walter the walking robot that I'm building out of wood and screws.
Incredible, and bravo to YWCA for offering state-of-the-art programming and mentorship designed to reduce the gender and racial gap in STEAM. So how wonderful it is really to see the young girls beginning this journey into tech and robotics in junior high. It is clear that girls in this program are on a pathway to changing the world. I kind of wish I had that when I was growing up. No, it's amazing. Now I'd like to introduce our next racial justice honoree who has been working in the Pasadena community to advance gender and racial equality. Juliana Cerrano is the president of Advocacy and Equity at Planned Parenthood Pasadena and San Gabriel Valley. In this role, she works to advance their mission through the strategic implementation of electoral and advocacy activities and creates the lead vision and strategy for community affairs, government affairs, and advocacy work with a focus on identity and is affirmed and celebrated, and where you can cultivate your creativity and talents to challenge stereotypes and foster connections with your peers. We are so inspired by her. It is now my honor to introduce another source of inspiration for our community, a true agent of change and esteemed institution. Hi, Juliana, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much. And good morning to everyone. It is an honor and a pleasure to be with you for this 19th annual Women for Racial Justice Breakfast. I want to thank the YWCA Glendale Pasadena for bringing us together, for the inspiring work that they do each and every day to eliminate racism, empower women, and promote peace, justice, and freedom and dignity for all. It is a tremendous honor to be recognized by such an incredible organization with a deep and profound legacy of transforming the lives of young women and so many others in our local community. I want to also congratulate my friends, my colleagues, my partners at the NAACP Pasadena branch on their award, as well as Angeline Chen, a woman I have come to know and admire for her dedication and commitment to serving others. And congratulations to Congresswoman Karen Bass, who is a model leader and reminds me of the power of government and policy and establishing social justice. When I started my career in the nonprofit sector nearly 20 years ago, I was working for an organization dedicated to fighting racism, bigotry, and bias. I remember attending my first and what was the first YWCA Racial Justice Breakfast. And in the years that followed, I was able to attend many more breakfasts and at times witness friends and colleagues receive awards from the YWCA. So to be a recipient of an award today is surreal in many ways. My confused yet hopeful 23-year-old self, a proud daughter of Colombian immigrant parents, and the first in my family to graduate from college, would have never imagined that I would receive such an accolade. Yet after many years of focusing my professional and personal life on social change and justice movements, I am here. And no doubt eradicating racism, dismantling white supremacy, and abolishing the patriarchy has been at the core of my effort to tackle such issues such as housing affordability, homelessness, immigration reform, voter enfranchisement, and policing. And now that I have the pleasure of working for a sexual and reproductive healthcare provider, I continue to address institutional and structural racism, helping heal and reconcile the past, setting a path forward for our anti-racism work, and fighting like hell to make sure we create a future that is equitable and just for all persons. In this labor, I have never worked alone. There are many with whom I have fought and co-conspired that may never go recognized for their impact. And I want to thank all of those leaders who have been part of my journey, made me the advocate that I am and still aspire to be. Today, I humbly receive this award, acknowledging that there is much more I must do. I look forward to continuing my relationship with the YWCA Glendale and Pasadena, many other organizations and leaders in our San Gabriel Valley, and that 23-year-old young person out there watching today, wanting to transform the world and not yet knowing how. Let's get to it. Thank you.
Oh, what a beautiful speech and so inspiring. Thank you and congratulations to you. And thank you so much for being part of this for so many years. It's really an honor to hear your words and very inspirational. Thank you so much. For 102 years, the NAACP Pasadena branch has been working to advance economic development, education, housing, and civil and human rights compliance to improve the quality of life of its members and the general community. As one of three NAACPs with a Southern California office, they've served as a beacon in our community, serving on the front lines of COVID response, policing reform, voting rights, eliminating segregation in our schools, advancing equal employment opportunities, and ensuring access to recreational facilities for every member of our community. With over a century of service in Pasadena, the branch has evolved into a leading organization and a dynamic force that continues to focus on local issues impacting the quality of life of its members and the general community. For this and so much more, we are honored this morning to recognize NAACP Pasadena chapter and also welcome its executive director, Alan Edson.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is an honor to be sitting before you today. Before I get started, I came across some words that I want to share with you about mourning. This being human is a guest house. Every morning is a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Treat each guest honorably. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each of them has been sent as a guide from beyond. Today is a good morning. This morning, the Glendale Pasadena YWCA knocked on the door of the Pasadena branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And I opened the door with a smile for their recognition of the Pasadena branch by awarding the branch their Social Justice Award. On behalf of the Pasadena branch, I want to thank Tara and the YWCA for this award. I also want to thank the YWCA for the work that they do to eliminate racism and empowering women. The Pasadena branch focuses on local issues impacting the quality of life for our members and the community at large. I want to share a few thoughts, some of our accomplishments during this COVID-19 pandemic. As you know, that the CARES Act, that money didn't trickle down to African-American businesses. And so the branch started our own stimulus fund, where we funded 20 African-American businesses in the local area. We developed a Black Business Directory app. The app is called Lolo VV. That's LOLOVIVI. Lolo VV means there's always love. You can find the app at lolovv.com. The branch also organized 2 of the largest protests in Pasadena. We hosted a car caravan for a vigil for George Floyd, which attracted 3,500 people. And on Juneteenth, we had another celebration that attracted 5,000 people. We contributed to the development of the Civilian Police Oversight Commission here in Pasadena. And the branch is represented by one of our executive board members on that commission. Recently, the branch participated in a Get Out to Vote campaign for the September governor recall election. Our efforts helped make a difference in the outcome. We converted our offices into a COVID-19 vaccination clinic and delivered over 300 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. I have a friend in the Bay Area that constantly preaches that if you honor the work will honor you. And so today I want to again thank the YWCA for selecting the branch for the Social Justice Award.
Thank you so much, Alan. And we really do appreciate all of your support and congratulations on your award. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, you're welcome.
We have another special program highlight to share today from YWCA's Camp Rosie Girls on the Rise Summer Camp. Girls in this program are exposed to arts, culture, leadership, and civic engagement in violence prevention as well, and STEAM education over the course of a 1 week camp session or 1 week camp sessions. I'd like to bring in the very talented writer Isabel from YWCA's Camp Rosie to share the poem that she wrote this summer.
Hi, my name is Isabel, and this is my poem. Just because I'm Mexican doesn't mean I'm angry all the time, doesn't mean I'm crazy, doesn't mean I'm a hysterical person. I'm a nice person and I have a soul too. Just because I'm small doesn't mean I'm weak, doesn't mean I have no brain. I'm a strong young woman and I can do anything.
Isn't she? And so inspiring too. And these are just like little examples of the amazing, huge things that they're doing here for all of the girls in the community that will grow up to be strong and empowered women. So I wish we could all just give a round of applause for her. She is amazing. Okay. I'd like to now invite Lupe Perez, who has been a driving force of change at the YWCA as the Pasadena subsidiary board president. She will be presenting the final award today. Hi, Lupe. Thank you so much for joining us and for, it's just amazing to do this with you for a 10th year in a row.
Thank you, Cher. You bring so much passion and joy to this event, and we are so grateful that you have now hosted for the past 10 years. We really do appreciate you and are happy to welcome you each and every year. Again, thank you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the final Women for Racial Justice Award to my dear friend, Angeline Chen. As many of you know, Angeline served as YWCA Pasadena and Foothill Valley's board president, raising awareness of and funds for our transformative girls empowerment programs. She successfully led our official coming together with YWCA Glendale to become YWCA Glendale and Pasadena in spring 2021. Angeline is a long-standing advocate for immigrants' rights, both as an attorney at Clark Hill and as the founder of Rise to Reunite. Angeline's passion and dedication to ensuring that immigrants are aware of and have full access to the resources available to exercise their rights led her to co-found Rise to Reunite, a volunteer group formed to help reunite families separated at the border. She's also the host of the podcast Immigration Today, where she interviews leaders, experts, advocates, and volunteers on current issues. For her exceptional work in advocating for the rights and dignity of our immigrant communities here in Los Angeles and at the border, and for her incredible devotion to advancing YWCA's mission of eliminating racism and empowering women, it is my pleasure to recognize Angeline Chan with the 2021 Women for Racial Justice Award. My most heartfelt congratulations to a formidable woman and a dear friend. Bravo, Angeline.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Lupe, for your wonderful words and all your support to me personally and to the YWCA. Thank you to YWCA Glendale and Pasadena for this incredible honor and being on this side of the receiving end. I could never even imagine it. I'm sincerely humbled to be receiving this award at the same event as the people we are honoring today. You are all total heroes of mine. The YWCA has been a part of my life for over 10 years, but the mission of empowering women and girls and eliminating racism has been central to my life since way before that. I'd like to share 2 of the transforming lessons I learned along the way. First, it is never too early to start making a difference. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love." Through Rise to Reunite, I have been taking volunteers to Tijuana to help asylum seekers. My goddaughter Daniela, a 13-year-old at the time, came with us on one of our trips. She didn't understand asylum or immigration laws. I mean, who does? But she knew that something was wrong with this situation. She knew that families were traveling over 2,000 miles to try to get to the US to save their lives. She knew that children were traveling alone to save their lives. So she came. Little kids told their story. Daniela read to them. They played and did arts and crafts. The kids were smiling and laughing. Daniela gave them that. And since then, she's not only returned to the shelter, but has told me that this showed her what she should do with her life. She wants to help people and be there for them, even if it's just to listen. When I was that age, I was playing video games and biting my nails. You know what I mean? It's never too early to start. The second thing I have learned is to never underestimate the power of a team. Being an activist or volunteering can be hard, but creating real change takes a team, and every person on that team plays an invaluable role. Time and time again, I have thought, how can we pull this off, get this done, reach that goal? And every time I'm left in awe by what a small group of committed individuals can achieve. People like our former YWCA Pasadena board and staff, Cynthia, Jomi, and Christina, who were literally navigating a global pandemic to continue supporting the programs that we believe in so much and running an organization without an ED. I love you, ladies. Tara Peterson, who has spearheaded the combining of YWCA Pasadena and Glendale and given me so much support. You are a total rock star. And the co-founders of Rise to Reunite. We met up, decided what we wanted to do. We wanted to help reunite families separated at the border. We volunteered and we fundraised together. You know who you are, and you changed my life. So as I wrap, I ask you to remember that as a community, as a team, there is nothing that we cannot do. Thank you so much.
Oh, Angeline, what a beautiful speech. And I've worked with you all these years as well, and a very much well-deserved honor. Congratulations, Angeline, for
Thank
all
you.
of the work that you do. Oh, what an amazing lineup of honorees in our community, as it is every year. And we are just so lucky to have their wisdom, their passion, and expertise. So congratulations to you all. I'd like to bring in one last video to showcase the work being done in YWCA's Girls Empowerment Programs. Here is a sneak peek into what the Girls Circle after school program provides.
In the YWCA Girls Circle, for the most part, we socialize with one another. In some of our meetings, we invite a guest speaker to come and present, and because of this, all the girls in my girls circle along with me have been exposed to things like culture, art, self-care, racial justice, and many more. My favorite part about Girls Circle is when we have open discussions where judging is absolutely non-existent. To me, what girls empowerment means is to show everyone that we can be just as strong as anybody else. It means that we can do the impossible. It means that we can feel confident the moment we wake up. It means that we can go about our days without wondering if we're good enough, because we're already good enough. In fact, we're more than enough.
More than enough is such a beautiful message. I love how this program is engaging girls in so many ways, from the arts to STEAM education to leadership building and affirming each girl's unique identity. It is so important. YWCA is truly a catalyst for transformation for girls' lives. I'd also like to now bring in someone who has played a special role in guiding this transformation for the girls at the YWCA and YWCA STEAM program particularly. She is YWCA STEAM program advisor and JPL instrument operations engineer. Janelle Wellens. Janelle has worked on missions to Saturn, the moon, and is currently, of course, our own Earth, our own planet Earth during her time at JPL. She is also a leader in diversity, equity, and inclusion at the lab, doing her part to cultivate and encourage a more diverse future of the space industry through employee resource groups and outreach. In short, Janelle is a powerhouse. She brings these skills and passion for engaging girls in STEAM to her role on the Pasadena Fundraising Committee, as well as the YWCA Glendale and Pasadena's STEAM Program Advisor, partnering with staff to expand the imprint and scope of YWCA's Tech Girls program. Please welcome Janelle.
Thank you, Cher. It's been really wonderful to learn more about our honorees and to hear directly from the girls in our programs on how our work is inspiring them to dream big. Jada, Isabel, Sonia, you blow us away. I mean, how amazing are they? Every time I see an age like 12 next to a name on a girl's piece of poetry or a robotics project, I have to stop and say, 12! What? Sometimes I'm just awestruck at what girls are creating these days. I mean, not even gravity can hold them down. But I'm also awestruck at what they're carrying too. I want us to imagine where we were at 12. What were our interests? Who were our friends? Who inspired us? Who believed in us? Who was there for us? Who wasn't? At YWCA, we get the unique opportunity to work with girls to be mentors of what is possible, to be a mirror, to open a pathway, to be a safe place and space for growth and empowerment. And that is why we are here today. I'm here because I have a passion for STEM that is contagious, and I want to do my part to close the gender gap here in California, where women make up only 24% of the STEM workforce. I want to show girls of color that they belong in these fields and that they can excel and make the impossible possible. And we can do that by inviting girls into spaces where they can explore science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics through hands-on activities led by women from their communities. We know that mentorship works, and that is why we match girls with mentors who will be there to encourage, challenge, and support them. Today, we are looking to get ourselves to 70K to support our Tech Girls Mentorship Program and new series of STEAM workshops at the Jackie Robinson Community Center. We will be bringing on site a free STEAM mentorship program and super fun workshops on robotics, coding, and wearable tech for girls. Yes, robotics, coding, and circuitry for 12-year-olds. Yes. And we are limiting food for girls to attend. We need to get ourselves to 70K today to meet the needs of girls who are signing up to be part of this new, empowered, and transformative force in STEAM. We hope that you will make an investment in these opportunities that have the ability to impact a girl's education and career trajectory by showing them what is possible when our community comes together to lift up girls, honor their experiences, and invest in their future, in our community's future. You can donate by clicking the button on your screen or using the text to give option going across the screen right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of your support. We appreciate you for making our programs possible.
We appreciate you, Janelle. I I feel like I'm so emotional just listening to you because you're such an inspiration to all of our girls at the YWCA and everybody that's involved with this program and everything that you do. So thank you for your time. Thank you for supporting us. And thank you for helping us raise money today. Again, our goal is 70,000. All you have to do is text YWCAGP to 474747 to support our work. We'd really be so grateful just for anything that you can donate today. Janelle, thank you. It is exciting to know that in-person programming is back this year and that more girls will be able to access these incredible opportunities. And we know that there are so many lifelong benefits that come from mentorship and exposure to these areas of study. It is amazing to see our community come together to support the YWCA. And I can't wait to hear about the impact that these programs will make. Janelle, I don't know if you noticed, but you gave me a lot of energy because you're so inspiring. So thank you. And now it is my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Nikki Giovanni. Nikki Giovanni is a world-renowned poet, writer, commentator, activist, and educator. Over the past 30 years, the outspoken nature of her writing and speaking has brought the eyes of the world upon her. One of the most widely read American poets, she prides herself on being a Black American, a daughter, a mother, a professor of English. Giovanni has written more than 24 books, including volumes of poetry, illustrated children's books, and 3 collections of essays. Since 1987, Nikki Giovanni has taught writing and literature at Virginia Tech, where she is a distinguished professor. Always insisting on presenting the truth as she sees it, she has maintained a prominent place as a strong voice of the Black community, with a focus on the individual, specifically the power one has to make a difference in oneself and the lives of others. As a devoted and passionate writer, teacher, and speaker, she inspires not only her students, but also readers and audiences nationwide. We are more than delighted to have her as our 2021 keynote speaker. Please welcome Miss Nikki Giovanni.
I was born in the Congo. I walked to the Fertile Crescent and built the Sphinx. I designed a pyramid so tough that only glows every 100 years. Oh, goodness, I am so sorry. I designed a pyramid that's so tough that a star that only glows every 100 years falls into the center, giving divine, perfect light. I'm bad. I sat on the throne drinking nectar with Allah. I got hot and sent an ice age to Europe to cool my thirst. My oldest daughter is Nefertiti. The tears from my birth pain created the Nile. I am a beautiful woman. I gazed on the forest and burned out the Sahara Desert. With a packet of goat's meat and a change of clothes, I crossed it in 2 hours. I am a gazelle, so swift, you can't catch me. For a birthday present when he was 3, I gave my son Hannibal an elephant. He gave me Rome for Mother's Day. My strength flows ever on. My son Noah built Newark, and I stood proudly at the helm as we sailed on a soft summer day. I turned myself into myself and was Jesus, men intone my loving name. All praises, I am the one who would save. I sowed diamonds in my backyard. My bowels deliver uranium. The filings from my fingernails are semi-precious jewels. On a trip north, I caught a cold and blew my nose, giving oil to the Arab world. I am so hip, even my errors are correct. I sailed west to reach east and had to round off the earth as I went. The hair from my head thinned and gold was laid across 3 continents. I am so perfect, so divine, so ethereal, so surreal. I cannot be comprehended except by my permission. I mean, I can fly like a bird in the sky. And I love that poem, and I wanted to share it with the women particularly, because we forget how important women are, and we forget that it all started with women. I'm not against the guys. I think that they do a good job most of the time. But you know, it's so important. If you have an egg, my students right now, I gave every one of my students an egg, And what they have to do is tell me, they have to write a poem actually, and tell me what hatched from that egg. And actually, nothing can hatch from the egg if we don't get the yolk. And so it's been kind of like a lot of fun to do that. And I want to share another poem that's very close to me. This is the 100th anniversary of the, or last year was, of the 13th Amendment. And I think that that's important. And I'm going to have a couple of lines in here that I think need to be remembered. Booker T. Washington, who was a great man and who had a lot to say to America and a lot to say to the young men. You have to get out and work. You have to go and do something. But we have to remember about Mr. Washington, that he went to, he went up to, I should say, visited Fisk University, which is my alma mater. He went to Fisk to find a wife, and he married her, and they had daughters. And as much as he talked about working hard and studying, and there's nothing wrong with studying, but working hard and getting out and doing, he sent his daughters to Fisk so that they could learn Latin, so that they could read books. And you're going to see that here. One of the things we know that we sometimes do forget is how hard the brothers worked to make sure that the sisters could get an education, and that the education that the sisters received, they were going to share. We talk about, and I think it's a wonderful thing, Harriet Tubman came, she escaped slavery, and she went back and led people out, led them through the Appalachian Trail. I teach at Virginia Tech, and we are on the Appalachian Trail. And Miss Tubman came back many times. I think it's over 400 people, never lost a visitor, never lost a passenger. We all, of course, appreciate the wonderful voice of Frederick Douglass and how important it was what he had to say and what he had to show America. But I wrote a poem celebrating the 13th Amendment because we forget some of us stayed. We were not cowardly. We were not fools. Some of us stayed where we were because we had worked there. There was our land. It was our seed in the ground. It was our people who were buried there. Some of us stayed. And I think it's so important to remember the people who stayed were also a great part of what makes this country a great country. But some of us stayed. We forget the strength of those who stayed behind. We sometimes don't recognize what it took to decide to build a church, a school, a store that sells the yams we pick from the ground, the tomatoes we carefully watch turn red on the vines, to seek the okra pods as well as to pick our own cotton. We took pride in our work and lovingly encouraged our daughters to dream. We sent them, our daughters, to school then, to college, and they stayed to help others. 100 years is not so long when we plant with patience and love, when we find the song that gives us the strength to go on. And I wanted to share that because it's so easy, and I have such an admiration as a, and this is not excluding any other women because race is a construct, but as a Black woman, somebody had to stay to build that community. Somebody had to stay that every Sunday they went to church and they sang a spiritual, whichever they chose, they sang something. But when we look at the spirituals, we have almost 1,000 songs that we can identify as the Negro spiritual. And when we look at that, not a single one is mean. Not a single one threatens. Not a single one tries to hurt anybody. They are all finding a way to forgive and to love. It's something great. I think it's a good idea to be a woman. I'm sorry that most people aren't because they should be. Women are great. We're talking about space. And we know now, as some of you do, that NASA is asking women, and I wish I were younger. I don't mind being old. It's not that I don't mind being old. The alternative is unattractive. But the idea of being able to go, not just to Mars, because I'd love to go to Mars, but to Jupiter, some of you who are 10 or 12 years old will be able to go into that third ring. And when you do, I think you're going to find life. You're going to find a life form. Now, somebody's going to say to you, oh, you can't go into space, they're aliens. But we've lived here on Earth. And we all know, we're all old enough to know, we've lived with aliens. We live with aliens every day. We see some of the crazy things. People lynch people, people whipped people, people bought and sell people. We've seen some ugly things. And that's alien to who it is that we are. So there's nothing in the galaxy that frightens me. There's nothing in the galaxy that I don't think that I can't deal with. And I think it's so wonderful for women to go into space, because the Black women that I know, and I'm not against any other kind of woman, but the Black women that I know would be up there in space, and we'd run into a life form. And the first thing we say is, hi, baby, how you? And then we'd say, what do you eat? Because Black women always are going to stop and cook. And the most wonderful thing about living here in Appalachia is that we in the Appalachian community and in the Black American community have come together. And you see it in our food, and you see it in our music, because these are the two things that we have shared. And I think that that's wonderful. I think that life is a good idea, and I want to recommend it. I think that life is a lot of fun. And you're also going to work. There's no question that there's work to be done, but there's something wonderful and powerful about getting the work done. I'm always trying to grow something I can't grow. My tomatoes didn't do well this year, and my okra hasn't grown in 2 years. But maybe I'm supposed to go to Kroger's and buy it. I don't know, but I really love okra, and so I'm sorry about not being able to grow it. But there are things. Why did we learn about okra? Because the Africans in West Africa brought okra pads over. I live in Virginia, which calls itself the peanut state, which it's not. How did it get to be the peanut state? Because the West Africans, the enslaved, bought peanuts here. There's a lot of things going on that are good, that we have to know something about, that we have to be proud of. And the most important thing to be proud of is ourselves. When you wake up in the morning and you brush your teeth, because I never did understand, and I apologize for this, but I never did understand why people brush their teeth at night, because you're not going to do anything at night but go to bed, go to sleep. But some people do. But when you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, which means you're looking in the mirror. And as you look in the mirror, you're seeing yourself. I would recommend highly that the first thing you do is smile and say, oh, I love you. Because maybe that's the only thing you'll hear for that day, because they're just days that nobody stops to say, I love you. And it's not that people don't love you, it's that they're busy or whatever. But it's always a good idea to love yourself. And it's a good idea that if you take that love of yourself, then you can share it with someone else. If you take brushing your teeth and saying, oh, I want my teeth to be nice. I I try to deal with mine. My teeth are not great because I'm 79 years old, and eventually they'll be yellow or something. But I have them, so I'm glad to have teeth. Teeth are important. And by the way, you should have your vaccine. You should be vaccinated. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, I don't believe in vaccination. Sure you do, because you've already gotten your smallpox, you've already gotten your measles, you've already gotten so many of your vaccinations, and you have to have your COVID. Ask Colonel Powell and General Powell. You have to have your COVID vaccination, and you have to take care of yourself so that you're available to take care of other people. And other people are looking for you to love you and to take care of you in whatever way that means, and listening to you and talking to you. And I was very fortunate because I had a wonderful grandmother, and we used to cook together. So I am a good cook, but one of the reasons that I am a good cook is that I cooked with grandmother. And somebody will say, if you're asking questions, I don't know if we are, but if we are asking questions, somebody invariably says, well, what's on your bucket list? And I don't mind admitting, on my bucket list, I want to beat Bobby Flay, because I know that I know I can beat Bobby Flay. And I think that you have to have some kind of stupid bucket list. I know I can't go to Mars. I know I can't go to Jupiter, but I can beat Bobby Flay. So you have to have a dream that you can do, and you ought to have a dream that you can't do. I think life is such a good idea. Spend some time reading. I love to read. I think it's a terrible thing. On any day that I can't read something, I read the comics every day. If nothing else, I read the comics because I love pickles. But it's if you don't read the comics, Pickles is an old man and an old woman, and their grandson Nelson lives with them. And I identify with Nelson because I live with my grandparents. But you have to read something every day. And it makes rainy days very important because on rainy days, you can't go out. So you just sit by the window and you watch the rain dance on the windowsill. And you pick up a book and you read some poetry or you read a novel, whatever it is that you're looking at, you read it. And it's very important. And I would urge you to listen to music. I have said to my students, listen to jazz. If you like to write poetry, you must listen to jazz because jazz will put you a rhythm for you. It will show you what you can do rhythmically. And you'll find that out when you get to high school or college, that's what really helps it. And I would say of the jazz people, listen to Thelonious Monk because he does dissonance and it teaches you a lot. There's just, you didn't ask for any of that. I think that it's good to join with a community. I think it's good to be truthful. I think it's really necessary and important that you recognize the most powerful thing you have is a word. You must never let anyone take the truth, and that's a word, away from you. As you get older, you must vote. You absolutely must vote. When you're 18 and you can sign up, you must vote because that's your voice. And you must never let anyone silence you, no matter whether they like it or not. You have a voice, you have a word, you have some love, and you have some laughter. And this is how you go forward. This is your major contribution for you and for what you have to give to the rest of us. So I congratulate you. I congratulate this breakfast. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I haven't been to California in a long time because we don't travel, right? Just haven't been traveling. It's not safe. But I think about this and I was so pleased to be invited to be a part of it. And you have to remember, you're a woman and women, we're incredibly important. So I have a son, and he's a good guy, but if he had been a girl, I would have been twice as happy. Girls are so sometimes you need a daughter, and some of you are daughters, and you're going to know your mother needs you, and you're going to respond to that. Love is a good idea. Daughters are good ideas, and I'm glad that you're a part of the YWCA, and thank you for inviting me to join you this morning.
Nikki, can I be your daughter? I've learned so much from just listening to you, and I want you in my life on a daily basis. You are so inspiring. If there's a way that I could join your Virginia Tech class, however it is, I mean, amazing, powerful, humorous, thought-provoking, inspiring, dream of the things you can and can't do. I know that everybody's been I was taking notes, okay? I'm taking notes on life. And yes, I think the ladies here are also saying that they're just captivated by you. And we couldn't be more honored to have you speak for us and be our keynote speaker this morning for the YWCA Eliminating Racism Racial Breakfast. It is just, I need to read Pickle, is that what it is?
Pickle.
I need to read Pickle.
Yeah.
I also need to bring you okra so that if I can bring you some okra, maybe we can cook for us. I don't know.
Wouldn't that be fun? Then we could get the Marcellus, all the Marcellus guys, Winton and Bradford and Delfino are all from New Orleans. So everything, then they'll come up and they'll give us the jazz and we'll give them the okra stew.
I love it. And then you could write some more poetry with that jazz, and then we can throw in some Thelonious Monk as well. I'm telling you, everybody, I wish you guys could give her the standing ovation that she deserves. Nikki Giovanni, thank you so much.
Thank
It was
you.
an absolute honor to listen
Thank
to
you.
you. So much wisdom. Okay, thank you, Nikki. I'm floored right now. I know that I'm not alone in reflecting on her powerful words, and thank you so much for bringing so much beauty and inspiration to this morning's event. And thank you all for joining us for this special event. We really can't thank you enough. And I have to say thank you to all of the organizers and everybody at the YWCA for asking me to be part of this once again. You are like family to me. I am so honored to be part of it every year. I have, my heart is full, and I learn something, and I just really think this is such a wonderful program for the girls out there. And to close us out, I would like to bring back YWCA CEO Tara Peterson and Deborah Kinley, YWCA Pasadena Board Treasurer and Secretary. Thank you so much, Tara, Deborah, Lupe, everybody that was involved, Janelle, all of the honorees. Congratulations to you as well, Angeline, and to I know I'm missing someone, Juliana, everybody that was here, Nikki, all of you. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for this successful event. I hope we raise the money for that Tech Girls programming.
Thank you, Cher. Truth, healing, transformation, our theme this year. As usual, I have been moved by today's event and hope you have been inspired and moved as well. It is time for our 19th annual Women for Racial Justice Breakfast to come to a close. I'd like to thank all of the people who put this event together, especially those behind the scenes: Clara Peterson, Heather Masterson, Cynthia Martinez, Celeste Meza, and all of the wonderful YWCA Glendale and Pasadena staff. Thank you to our honorees for being who they are and furthering our mission of eliminating racism and empowering women. Representative Bass, Angeline Chen, Juliana Cerrano, and the Pasadena branch of the NAACP. Congratulations to you all. I especially want to thank our keynote speaker, Nikki Giovanni, for her inspiring message. She is someone whom I have admired for many years for her poetry and activism. And we cannot let the day end without thanking our Emcee, Cher Calvin, who has graced us with her charm and enthusiasm once again for 10 years, hosting our Women for Racial Justice Breakfast. Thank you all for your support, and we hope to see you next year.
Thank you, Deborah. I echo your gratitude for everyone who made this event possible and send another congratulations to today's honorees. I want to also thank Jada, Isabel, and Sona for sharing their experiences in our program. Thank you all for helping us reach our fundraising goal. We are still hoping to get to that 70K. We are at 67, a little over $67,000. Every dollar you donate today goes directly to support our Girls Empowerment Program. You had an opportunity to hear from these young ladies. They are so inspirational, and we want to see one of them on Jupiter one day. That is our goal. And so we need all of the support that we can get to reach our goal. Please continue to donate. You can continue to donate even after this event. Again, we need every dollar. Every dollar counts. Every dollar makes a difference. Thank you to all of our sponsors, everyone that purchased a ticket, and to our entire team at YWCA Glendale and Pasadena for everything that you do to support women and girls in our community. We cannot wait to see you all in person next year for our 20th annual Women for Racial Justice Breakfast. Be well. Thank you, everyone.